Every Monday morning for 3 months, my grandson Tyler came back from his mother's house looking like he'd been hit by a truck. I'm talking dark circles under his eyes, dragging his feet, barely able to keep his head up at breakfast. At first, I thought it was just the adjustment. The divorce had been hard on everyone, especially an 8-year-old boy. But after 12 weeks of the same pattern, something felt terribly, horribly wrong. Let me back up. My name is Margaret, and I'm 63 years old. I raised my son Danny as a single mother after my husband walked out when Danny was 2. It was just the two of us for 16 years, and we were close. Best friends, really. When he met Vanessa in college, I was thrilled. She seemed sweet, ambitious, driven. They got married young, had Tyler 2 years later, and for a while, everything looked perfect from the outside. But then the cracks started showing. Vanessa changed after she got that promotion at her marketing firm. Long hours turned into late nights turned into weekends at the office. Danny tried to be understanding, tried to be supportive, but when you're raising a kid essentially alone while your wife chases a career, resentment builds. They tried counseling, they tried date nights. Nothing worked. Last year, they finally called it quits. The custody arrangement seemed fair at the time. Danny got Tyler during the week since his job had regular hours, and Vanessa got him Friday after school through Monday morning. That way she could have quality time without missing work. Tyler would stay with her at her new condo downtown, just the two of them reconnecting. It sounded good on paper. The first few Monday mornings were rough, sure. Tyler would be quiet, withdrawn, missing his mom already. That made sense. But by week 4, I started noticing other things. He'd fall asleep at the breakfast table. His teacher called Danny to say Tyler couldn't focus on Mondays and Tuesdays. His grades started slipping. And there was something else, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. Tyler just seemed off, irritable, almost jittery, but exhausted at the same time. It's the adjustment, Danny kept saying. He's spending all weekend having fun with Mom, staying up late, then crashing when he gets back to routine. It'll settle down. But it didn't settle down. It got worse. By week 8, Tyler had lost weight. His cheeks looked hollow. He'd always been a good eater, but suddenly he picked at his food. When I asked if Mommy was feeding him enough, he'd just shrug and say he wasn't hungry. His appetite was gone. My grandson, who used to beg for seconds of everything, was pushing food around his plate. I tried talking to Vanessa about it. I really did. I called her one Tuesday evening after dropping Tyler off at Danny's. Kept it casual, grandmotherly concern. "Hey Vanessa, it's Margaret. How are you, sweetheart?" "Oh, hi Margaret. I'm good, just swamped with work. What's up?" "I wanted to ask about Tyler's weekends with you. He seems really tired on Mondays, and I'm wondering if maybe he's staying up too late. You know how kids are, they don't want to miss a minute with Mom." There was a pause. Then she laughed, but it sounded forced. "You know Tyler, he gets excited and doesn't want to go to bed. I try to keep him on schedule. But you can't force an 8-year-old to sleep, right?" "Of course not. And he's eating okay with you. He seems to have lost his appetite lately." Another pause. "He eats fine here. Maybe he's just picky at Danny's. You know how divorce affects kids. Probably stress." It was a perfectly reasonable answer. But something in her tone felt wrong. Defensive. Like she was hiding something. Week 10. Tyler's teacher called Danny at work. Tyler had fallen asleep in class. Not just nodding off, but actually asleep, head down on his desk, out cold. When they woke him up, he was so disoriented he didn't remember where he was for a minute. The teacher suggested having him evaluated by a doctor. Maybe there was something medical going on. Danny took him to the pediatrician that Wednesday. They ran blood tests, checked his thyroid, looked for anemia, mono, everything. Results came back normal. The doctor's advice? Probably stress from the divorce. Make sure he's getting enough sleep and eating regular meals. It should improve with time. But time wasn't improving anything. If anything, Tyler seemed worse. By week 11, he started having what I can only describe as mood swings. He'd be exhausted and withdrawn 1 minute, then suddenly anxious and talkative, then crash again. It was like watching a yo-yo. And it always followed the same pattern. Fine Tuesday through Friday. Gone for the weekend. Wrecked on Monday. I started really watching him, observing. That's when I noticed his hands shaking sometimes on Monday mornings. Subtle, but there, and he'd bite his nails down to nothing. That was new. Tyler had never been a nail biter. One Monday morning, when I was making him breakfast before school, I asked him directly, "Tyler, honey, what do you do at Mommy's house all weekend?" He looked up at me with those big brown eyes, so much like his father's. "We watch movies mostly. And Mom works on her laptop." "The whole weekend?" He shrugged. "Pretty much. She says she has important projects. But it's okay. I like watching movies." "Do you guys go out? To the park? Get ice cream?" "Sometimes. Not really lately. Mom says she's too tired." Too tired. Vanessa, who used to run marathons, who had more energy than anyone I'd ever met. Too tired to take her son to the park. That's when the really dark thought crept in. The thought I didn't want to have. What if something else was going on? What if Vanessa wasn't just absent or neglectful? What if she was doing something to him? I felt sick even thinking it. This was my daughter-in-law, the mother of my grandson. How could I even consider that she might be harming him? But I couldn't shake the feeling. The pattern was too consistent. Every Monday, like clockwork, I started doing research. What could cause a child to be exhausted, lose weight, have mood swings, lose focus, all following a weekend pattern? The answers I found terrified me. Sleep deprivation, malnutrition, medication issues. Medication issues. Tyler had been diagnosed with ADHD when he was 6. He took medication for it every morning, a small dose of extended-release Adderall that helped him focus at school. Danny administered it during the week. Vanessa was supposed to give it to him on weekends. But what if she wasn't? Or worse, what if she was taking it herself? I knew that some adults abused ADHD medication. Used it to stay awake, focus, lose weight, get that edge at work. It was basically prescription speed. And Vanessa had been under enormous pressure at work, constantly talking about deadlines and presentations and climbing the corporate ladder. Could she be taking Tyler's medication? Leaving him unmedicated all weekend, which would explain the focus issues on Mondays when it took time to get back in his system. But that didn't explain the exhaustion. Unless she was giving him something else. Something to keep him quiet and manageable while she worked. Something to make him sleep. My hands were shaking as I typed into Google, "Can adults overdose children with sleep medication?" The results made my stomach drop. Benadryl, melatonin, various antihistamines, all commonly misused by parents who wanted their kids to just go to sleep. And if someone was taking stimulants themselves, they might need something to bring themselves down afterward. The pieces were clicking together in the most horrible way. I had to know. I had to be sure. But I couldn't just accuse her. If I was wrong, I'd destroy the family. Danny would never forgive me. Vanessa would cut off contact. I'd lose my grandson. But if I was right, and I did nothing, I was letting Tyler be drugged every weekend, letting him suffer, potentially letting him be seriously harmed. That's when I decided. I needed proof. I needed to see what was actually happening in that condo. I spent a week researching hidden cameras. It felt wrong, invasive, like something out of a spy movie. But what choice did I have? I found a small nanny cam that looked like a regular phone charger. You could plug it into any outlet, and it would record video to a cloud server, motion activated, so it wouldn't record hours of empty room. The hard part was getting it into Vanessa's condo. I couldn't just walk in there and plant it, but Tyler's backpack, that went with him everywhere, and his tablet needed charging overnight. If I put the camera charger in his bag and told him to use it to charge his tablet at Mom's house, it would end up in his bedroom, plugged into an outlet, recording. I felt like a criminal as I packed it into the bottom of his backpack that Friday afternoon, tucked it under his gym clothes where he wouldn't notice it right away. I'd prepared a whole speech for when he found it. "Oh, your dad wanted you to have an extra charger at Mom's house so you don't have to keep packing yours back and forth." Simple, innocent. That weekend was the longest 56 hours of my life. I couldn't eat, could barely sleep. What would the camera show? Part of me hoped for nothing. Hoped I'd see Tyler watching TV, Vanessa working on her laptop, everything normal, and my suspicious mind had just created a conspiracy out of typical divorce adjustment issues. But another part of me, The grandmother part, the part that had watched my grandson deteriorate for 3 months, knew something was wrong. Knew it in my bones. Monday morning came. Tyler arrived at Danny's house at 7, same as always. I was there early, making breakfast, watching him shuffle in, looking like death warmed over. Dark circles, drooping shoulders. He barely said hello before slumping onto the couch. Vanessa dropped him off at the curb as usual. Didn't come in. Didn't even wait to see him get inside safely. Just drove off to her important job with her important meetings. I waited until Danny left for work, taking Tyler to school on the way. Then I opened my laptop with shaking hands and logged into the camera's cloud server. There were 6 video files. 6 motion-activated recordings from Tyler's bedroom over the weekend. I clicked on the first one. Friday night, 9:47 p.m. according to the timestamp. The camera had a wide view of Tyler's bedroom at Vanessa's condo. I could see his bed, his nightstand, the door. Tyler was in his pajamas, sitting on his bed with his tablet. Normal. Then the door opened. Vanessa walked in, still in her work clothes. "Hey buddy, time for bed. Big day tomorrow. Can I finish this level?" "No, it's late. You need sleep." She walked to the nightstand and picked up something. A glass of water and what looked like a small paper cup with liquid in it. "Here, drink your medicine. I already took my vitamin at dinner. This is a different one. It helps you sleep better. Remember? We talked about this. Drink up." I watched my grandson, my sweet Tyler, obediently drink whatever she'd given him. Then she tucked him in, kissed his forehead, and left. 15 minutes later, Tyler was out cold. Not regular sleep. Dead to the world sleep. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely click to the next video. Saturday morning, 6:23 a.m. Tyler stirring, waking up slowly. Vanessa came in, already dressed for the day. "Morning, honey. How'd you sleep?" "I'm really tired, Mom." "That's because you're growing. Here, take your morning medicine." She handed him a pill and water. His ADHD medication. Good. At least she was giving him that. But then I noticed her hand. After Tyler swallowed the pill, she reached into her pocket and pulled out the pill bottle, shook 2 more pills into her own hand. Dry swallowed them, put the bottle back. She was taking his medication. Right in front of him. My daughter-in-law was stealing ADHD medication from her 8-year-old son. The next videos got worse. Saturday night, same routine, sleepy medicine. Sunday morning, Tyler saying he didn't feel good, didn't want to get up. Vanessa insisting he take his vitamin with breakfast. Sunday night, same sleep medication. By Monday morning, the last video at 6:15 a.m., Tyler could barely wake up. Vanessa practically had to drag him out of bed. She looked frantic, checking her watch, snapping at him to hurry up. I watched her grab the prescription bottle from her own nightstand, not Tyler's. Shake it, almost empty, curse under her breath, then put it in her purse. She was going through a month's supply of Tyler's medication in a week, using it herself to maintain that manic work pace. Then crashing and giving Tyler over-the-counter sleep aids to keep him quiet and manageable while she worked or slept off her own come-down. My grandson wasn't adjusting to divorce. He was being systematically drugged. I don't remember the next few minutes clearly. I think I cried. I know I had to run to the bathroom and throw up. The woman I'd welcomed into my family, who I'd helped plan her wedding, who I'd been with in the delivery room when Tyler was born, had been poisoning my grandson, using him as her personal pharmacy. I wanted to call Danny immediately, tell him everything, but it was 8:30 a.m. He was at work, Tyler was at school. I forced myself to think clearly. What did I need to do? What was the right move? I saved all the video files to my computer, backed them up to a USB drive, made sure I had copies. Then I called my neighbor Helen, whose daughter was a lawyer. "Helen, I need help. It's urgent. It's about Tyler." 20 minutes later, Helen and I were sitting in her daughter's office downtown. Rachel Morrison, family law attorney, listened to my story and watched the videos with a stone face. When they finished, she looked at me. "Mrs. Morrison, this is child abuse. What your daughter-in-law is doing is drugging a minor, theft of prescription medication, and child endangerment. You need to go to the police. Today, right now." "What about Danny? Shouldn't I tell him first?" "You can tell him, But the police need to be involved immediately. Your grandson is in danger every time he goes to that condo. She's giving him unprescribed sedatives and taking his prescribed medication. Both are illegal. Both are dangerous. I called Danny, told him to leave work and meet me at the police station, told him it was about Tyler and it couldn't wait. The look on his face when he walked into the station and saw me sitting there with a lawyer is something I'll never forget. Confusion, fear, anger, all of it cycling through in seconds. "Mom, what the hell is going on?" I showed him. Right there in the police station, on the detective's laptop, I showed him the videos of his ex-wife drugging his son. He went white, then green, then ran to the bathroom. When he came back, there were tears streaming down his face. "How long?" he whispered. "How long has she been doing this?" "I don't know. At least 3 months. Maybe longer." The detective, a woman named Sarah Chen who specialized in child abuse cases, was thorough and kind. She took our statements, took copies of the videos, and made some calls. Within 2 hours, there was a warrant for Vanessa's arrest and an emergency custody order removing Tyler from her care immediately. They picked Vanessa up at her office. She'd apparently been in the middle of a presentation. The police walked right into the conference room and arrested her in front of her colleagues. They found the pill bottles in her purse. Tyler's ADHD medication, nearly empty, a bottle of Benadryl. And another bottle, this one for prescription sleep medication in her own name, but the dates showed she'd refilled it way too soon. When they searched her condo, they found more. Empty bottles of Tyler's medication going back 6 months, spreadsheets on her laptop tracking her own usage, notes about dosages and timing. She'd been documenting her own drug abuse, probably to optimize her work performance. The prosecution called it pharmaceutical child abuse. The defense tried to paint it as a stressed single mother who made a mistake, but the videos didn't lie. Neither did the medical examination of Tyler, which showed elevated levels of diphenhydramine in his system and signs of chronic sleep medication exposure. Vanessa took a plea deal, admitted to child endangerment, prescription fraud, and drug abuse. She got 3 years in prison, 5 years probation, and a permanent loss of custody. She'll have supervised visitation only when she gets out, if Tyler even wants to see her. Danny got full custody. I moved in with them to help take care of Tyler while Danny worked. It seemed right. My son needed me, my grandson needed me, and honestly, I needed them too. Tyler's recovery took time. The doctors said it could take months for his system to fully clear and for his sleep patterns to normalize. They were right. He had nightmares at first. Trouble sleeping even though we weren't giving him anything. His appetite came back slowly. The focus issues gradually improved once he was back on his proper medication schedule. But the emotional recovery, that took longer. Tyler had to process that his mother, the person who was supposed to protect him, had been hurting him. He went to therapy twice a week. Danny and I went too. Family counseling, learning how to talk about it, how to help him feel safe again. It's been a year now. Tyler just turned 9. He's doing well in school. He's gained back the weight he lost and then some. He sleeps through the night in his own room without nightmares. He's laughing again, playing with friends, being a kid. He still asks about his mom sometimes. I don't lie to him. We don't tell him everything, but we're honest. Mommy made some very bad choices. She was sick and needed help. She did things that hurt you, even though she loved you. She's getting help now, but it's going to take time. Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing, if there was a way to handle it that wouldn't have blown up the family. But then I look at Tyler, healthy and happy, doing his homework at the kitchen table or teaching me some new video game, and I know I did the only thing I could do. I protected my grandson. The hardest part was accepting that I'd missed signs earlier. Vanessa had always been so driven, so focused on success. I'd admired that about her. I didn't realize it had crossed into obsession, that she was willing to sacrifice anything, even her own son, for career advancement. And I didn't want to believe that someone I loved could do something so horrible. That's the thing they don't tell you about family abuse. The abuser isn't always a monster. Sometimes there's someone you had Thanksgiving dinner with, someone you welcomed into your home, someone you trusted with your most precious person. But here's what I want other grandparents, other parents, other family members to hear. If something feels wrong, trust that feeling. Don't dismiss it because it seems unlikely or because you don't want to believe it. Don't rationalize away the warning signs. I almost talked myself out of investigating. I almost convinced myself that I was being paranoid, that divorce adjustment was a real thing, that I was overreacting. But that voice in my head, the grandmother voice that knew my grandson better than anyone, kept saying something is wrong. And I'm so grateful I listened to it. Tyler told me something a few months ago. We were baking cookies together, just the two of us, and out of nowhere he said, "Grandma, you saved me." I started crying right there over the cookie dough. I love you, Tyler. I'll always protect you. I know. That's why you're my favorite person in the whole world. That's why I'm sharing this story. Because somewhere out there, maybe there's another Tyler, another child who needs someone to notice, someone to question, someone to be brave enough to look at the hard truth and do something about it, even when it's scary, even when it means turning against someone you love, even when it tears your family apart. Because in the end, protecting a child is worth any cost, worth any relationship, worth any heartbreak. Tyler is safe now. He's healing. He has a future. And that's worth everything. If you're reading this and something in your gut is telling you that a child in your life is in danger, please, please trust that instinct. Ask questions. Observe. Investigate if you need to. And if you find something, speak up. Report it. Get help. Don't worry about being wrong or causing trouble or ruining relationships. I'd rather be wrong 100 times than ignore my instincts once and lose my grandson. Tyler is 9 now. He wants to be a veterinarian when he grows up. He has friends and hobbies and dreams. He's going to be okay. And every time I tuck him into bed at night, in his room in our house where he's safe, I thank God I trusted my instincts. I thank God I had the courage to look for the truth. And I thank God that I was able to protect him before it was too late. If you're a grandparent watching a grandchild suffer, if you're a parent worried about your co-parent, if you're a friend concerned about a child you know, don't ignore it. One person's courage can save a life. One person's willingness to see the ugly truth can give a child their future back. Be that person. Trust yourself, trust your love, and fight like hell for the children who can't fight for themselves. Because they need us. Tyler needed me. And somewhere out there, maybe another child needs you.